In this video, you will learn the 7 tips that will increase the chances that the man you want falls in love with you. These 7 tips are based on solid psychological science, and they are things that you can start using immediately to encourage the guy you like to fall in love with you. Don't go anywhere, we're starting right now. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Antonio Borrello, and I'm a psychologist and relationship coach. This channel is all about helping you build great relationships so you can grow happy with the people you love. So, if you're interested in making your love life the best part of your life, start now by clicking the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you aren't missing anything. Okay, on to our topic, getting the person you're dating to fall in love with you. First, I have to say this. There's no such thing as a magic potion. There are no tricks or tactics that will absolutely make another person fall in love with you. If anyone tells you there is, hold on to your wallet and run away fast. But having said that, there are many strategies based on psychological research that can increase the chances that the person you want falls in love with you. These are things that you should be doing in the beginning when you first meet or start dating a person. But there are also things that will help you to get the spark back in your existing relationship. Oh, and I'm saving the best one for last because without doing the last one, the others won't be as effective anyway. Look, falling in love is something that happens to us, not something that we make happen by an act of will. I mean, sometimes it even happens when we least expect it or want it. But there are things that you could be doing that can kind of kickstart the process for both you and the other person. So, without further ado, here are the 7 tips. Number 1, find reasons to be around them because we become more attracted to people who are familiar to us, and we become more attracted to people we have regular contact with. In other words, the more you interact with someone, the more they will like you. There are so many studies demonstrating this mere exposure phenomenon. The more exposure do you have to practically any stimulus, the more you will like it. Of course, that is only if your first impression was positive or neutral. If it was negative, then you'll probably like them less. That's because people develop a preference for things that they become familiar with. The more often a person is seen by someone, the more pleasing that person seems. Also, we become attracted to people we have contact with. Regular contact is an important ingredient in romance, which is why most relationships are between people who live, work, or go to school near each other. So, when you meet a person you're interested in, don't be aloof or evasive or unavailable. Doing so could give them a negative first impression, and then repeated exposure will cause them to like you less and less. Remember, first impressions are very important, so be nice and attentive and find opportunities to spend time with that person. Number 2, become an active listener. Active listening is when you fully commit to understanding what someone is expressing to you, and you listen with intent and purpose and without any distractions or interruptions. And several psychological studies have shown that active listening is related to higher evaluations of social attractiveness. So, when you're talking to a guy you like, you can boost and heighten your attraction levels by practicing active listening. Think about it. So many people today are totally preoccupied by their phones, by social media and text. So having a conversation with a person who is completely present and in the moment is highly attractive and further cultivates warm feelings. So how do you engage in active listening? Well, it involves the following steps. First, don't interrupt or judge the person who is talking. Number 2, nod your head and give short verbal signs and lean into the person talking so that you're showing you acknowledge what the person is saying. And 3, paraphrase what they said so that they know that you've understood. And 4, ask questions to signal that you've paid attention and are interested. Oh, and laugh at his jokes. Another thing that will make you more attractive to men is when you laugh at their jokes. This makes them feel better about themselves. Besides, it also shows that you are approachable and confident enough to appreciate a good sense of humor. Number 3, give them the look of love through eye contact and smiling. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul, but it turns out that they're also the windows to the heart. There have been many studies on how nonverbal cues from eyes affect our behavior towards one another. And when it comes to falling in love, how you communicate with your eyes can make all the difference. That's because prolonged eye contact can cause 2 people to feel attraction towards one another. Some evidence? A study published in the Journal of Research and Personality had 2 opposite-sex strangers gaze into each other's eyes for 2 minutes. They found that this was enough in some cases to produce passionate feelings for each other. So much so that one of the couples even got married a year later. Why is that? Well, eye contact is a powerful stimulator of affection, and specifically the neuromodulator phenylethylamine, or PEA. PEA is the chemical cousin to amphetamines and is secreted by the nervous system when we first fall in love. It's what makes your palms sweat and your tummy flip over and your heart race. The more PEA your person has pumping through their bloodstream, the more likely they are to fall in love with you. And while you can't honestly force someone to adore you if they're not remotely interested, they won't even let you look into their eyes for that long. It's entirely possible to kickstart the production of PEA using this technique. And smile when you're around them. Smiling makes everyone look more attractive and approachable because it conveys expressions of joy and happiness. And when you're smiling in response to seeing someone, it makes them feel like you're smiling because of them. That's an awesome feeling, and of course, there are many psychological studies that have confirmed the relationship between expressions of joy and happiness and attractiveness. And simply put, one's level of attractiveness can be increased by the mere fact that they are expressing happiness. So, when you're with the person you're crushing on, make sure that you give them a genuine smile. Number 4, dim the lights. Why are candlelit dinners so romantic? Well, first, softer lights make our faces look more attractive, and softer, dimmer lights make our pupils expand. And people are more attractive when their pupils are expanded. And I'm not making this up. In fact, there have been several famous studies that showed this. The first was at the University of Chicago, where ELKHART HESS studied the effects of pupil size on feelings of attraction. In one experiment, they took 2 pictures of the same woman, presented it to male subjects, and asked them to describe the female in the picture. But the researchers had artistically altered the photographs and manipulated the size of the woman's pupil to be either slightly larger or smaller than they were in their natural state. And Hess noted that none of the men reported noticing a difference in pupil size between any of the pictures, but this subtle change seemed to subconsciously influence the level of attraction they felt for the woman in the picture. When the woman had large pupils, she was said to be soft and more feminine and pretty, while when the very same woman had small pupils, the men described her as cold and hard and selfish. And this is a frequently referenced experiment and phenomenon that has been retested using a variety of different methods over the years, and it has yielded the same results. Men find women with bigger pupils to be more romantically appealing. Obviously, we can't dilate our pupils at will, but we can create the right conditions to make our pupils bigger. See, our pupils expand when they're robbed of light. So dim the lights and hang out. Okay, now we are getting to the most important ones, so keep watching because these are more impactful. Number 5, become scarce. This can be difficult to do because when you like someone, you want to spend as much time with them as possible. But that can often backfire. So just when you're convinced that you've won him over and he likes you, start being a little less available, and then even less until he hardly sees you at all. You've now effectively instigated the law of scarcity. And we all know this one. People want what they can't have. By constantly being available, you diminish your value. Things that are scarce are more valuable. If your time is scarce, it has more value. Plus, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And don't say out of sight, out of mind. He's going to be wondering about you and worrying about you. So let him have the thoughts that you've had. Then maybe he'll be the one watching these videos. Number 6, make him invest in you. People care more when they put more effort into their relationships. So if you want your guy to fall in love, you have to let him invest in you. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about allowing him to help you with things like small favors or helping you complete a project at home, help with studying, things that take time and effort. The more he invests, the more he will like you as a result. I know it seems counterintuitive, but trust me, when he does something nice for you, he will be pleased with himself and feel extra warm towards you. Remember, we appreciate and value the things we work hard for, so let him work for it. Number 7, exude confidence by overcoming your fear of rejection. As we've talked about in other videos, confidence in both men and women is very sexy and it draws people to you. Confidence creates an aura that draws people in. It shows people that you're comfortable with yourself, and it grants you a certain poise and charm and assertiveness. And confident people have a certain air about them that makes you want to get to know them. You want to know what makes them so self-assured. But while confidence is an almost universally attractive trait, its opposite, insecurity, is almost universally unattractive. And unfortunately, insecurity or rejection sensitivity is often most notable when you're dating a person and you fear that they may leave you. This rejection sensitivity can also manifest itself in many ways and really hurt your relationship. For example, people who have a fear of rejection are quick to assume that when their partner engages in some mildly inconsiderate behavior, not a big deal, they assume it reflects something deeper and more personal, like a lack of love or commitment. And then this leads to conflict that is likely to escalate, and then the couple starts having more and more negative experiences. If you fear that your relationship is going to end, you are not likely to behave in ways that exude confidence. In fact, you'll act in ways that appear insecure, and you'll probably sabotage your relationship. Oh, and speaking of rejection, are you struggling with a relationship or a dating situation that you need some help with? I coach people all over the world, both over the phone or through video conferencing. So if you're struggling with a dating or relationship problem, send me an email at antonioborrello@icloud.com, and perhaps we can work together one-on-one. I'll also include my email address in the notes below. So the most important thing is to overcome your fear of being rejected. Overcome your fear of the relationship ending. But how do you do that? Overcoming your fear of rejection is a gradual process, but it begins with rejecting that self-fulfilling prophecy. You need to reject that belief that others will always reject you, because when you hold on to it, you're going to create situations for it to occur. And unconsciously, you'll do things that will push people away, and then you'll use that rejection as more evidence. Instead, you need to end that self-fulfilling prophecy by deliberately looking for signs of acceptance. Maybe even write them down if you need to. Getting over rejection also requires that you learn to see it differently. I mean, no particular rejection is the end of the world for you. You can survive the end of a relationship, or a job that doesn't work out, or a friendship that no longer fits. It might be painful, but you will survive, and you can become stronger as a result. Look, rejection is a disappointment. It's a feeling and it hurts. But when you get rejected, you cannot assume it means something awful about you. You have to embrace the belief that if it's meant to happen, it will. If you're not compatible, it's not going to work out in the long run anyway. Rejection doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you ever. It only means that whatever we are asking for is not meant to happen at this time. It does not mean we stop living or bury ourselves in a hole. You must believe that experiencing rejection is not the same as being unlovable or worthless or destined to be alone forever. In other words, rejection doesn't have to carry that much weight, because you don't have to let it. Have I missed any good suggestions or tips for encouraging a guy to fall in love with you? If so, I'd love to hear them. Leave a comment and let's start a discussion. And if you want to continue seeing videos that will help you build great relationships so you can grow happy with the people you love, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you're getting all of our new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.